keep getting to the brain, which means that, when you look at that chair or look at that sofa in your bedroom, do you look at it and do you feel that ye kaam karna hai, ye fold karne hai, kapde andar rakhne hai? So there's like a constant reminder that the brain keeps getting. Yeah, which actually is nothing but for us to feel that clutter needs to be addressed quickly, so that that busy signal to the brain or the stress and anxiety that one is feeling mentally can be addressed faster than by procrastinating about it. Yeah. And one of the other very important effects of clutter is that it triggers a feeling and reminder of an unpleasant past, which means that when you have items that are really stored into your storerooms, your bed boxes and those lofts, how many of us have those kind of areas in the house where things are really put at the back somewhere, and we all feel ki kisi din kaam aayega? Hota hai aise? And the reason why we are keeping all these items is that we feel kisi din to kaam aayega, isliye abhi rakhenge hum. Hota hai aise? Yeah. And I think that's the argument that we keep putting it out over there. And I'm sure there must be so many items in your life that you may not have used for a very, very long time. Yeah, because that someday hasn't come. Because we are still waiting for that someday to arrive. And I'm sure Diwali is that one big example, because we will now take out everything, clean everything, and put back everything, and then tell ourselves, aayega kaam. Kabhi na kabhi kaam aayega hi aayega. Right? So important is therefore to know that clutter is nothing but, stuff and items in your life that affects us in such a manner that we are not able to process and able to understand our, surroundings in a most rational manner. So which is why it's important to know what constitutes clutter in our life. Okay, so I want to quickly ask you right now that, do you think that anything that is lying in front of you right now, maybe you would be having like a book or a paper or a pen right now where you must be taking notes, and you must be sitting in, in your drawing room or wherever you are sitting right now. Do you think that pencil and that paper and that book, is it clutter? You can write yes or no on the chat. No. Correct, absolutely. But do you think that this paper and pen and that book, if it continues to lie over there for the next 5 days in that position, do you think that is clutter? Yes. Okay. So let me put this in perspective. So actually, clutter is not just those items that we are not using. Clutter also constitutes those items which you are using right now. But after you have used it for that particular period of time, and if they are continuing to lie where they are lying, then they constitute clutter, which means that when you're having a cup of tea in the morning and you have it while sitting in the drawing room or in the living room, but after you're done with that, cup of coffee, once you get up and the normal day starts, then that cup lying over there becomes clutter. Does this make sense? Yeah, because there are times that we don't understand what clutter is, and we only keep thinking कि वो जो चीज हमने संभाल के अंदर अलमारियों में और स्टोर रूम में रखी हुई है दबा के छुपा के, वही है clutter. But actually clutter is all these items which are in front of you, which we are trying to just not look at, or trying to have like a blind eye to them. Those also items constitute clutter. Yeah, so therefore it's important to know what is clutter so that you're able to tackle it in the most effective manner. Okay. So now going further, I want to now go on to the very interesting and a very unique method called the KonMari method. Is everybody aware, or is anyone aware of the KonMari method? Does everybody know? Yes or no? No. Okay. So this is a very interesting concept that has been started by this Japanese lady. Her name is Marie Kondo, and she's pretty young. She must be 37 years old, 36, 37. And she came up with this very interesting method, which is derived from her own name, called the KonMari method. And her idea is to do decluttering by asking yourself this question: does it spark joy? Which means that if I hold an item in my hand, and if an item sparks joy for me, or makes me happy, or brings a lot of happiness and joy in my life, those are the items that I must keep in my life and my house. And the items that don't evoke such an emotion should be thanked and acknowledged for the service or for whatever they have provided to us, and then we let go of them. Yeah. And that's why this philosophy has become a very world famous philosophy, because does it spark joy? Actually, if you think about it, it's a very positive philosophy. And the focus of, does it spark joy, is that we focus on what to keep rather than what to discard. So does it happen that when you decide that this weekend I'm going to do my decluttering, like how we decide ki is hafte humne decluttering karni hai, do we all start thinking with the mindset that hum kya nikalna chahte hain? Yeah. Which means that instead of thinking what I should keep, the idea is very negative, that what I should give away. So instead, what Marie Kondo's philosophy is that focus on what to keep rather than focus on what to discard. And when you think like this, when you apply the method like this, you'll be able to see that your approach to decluttering will become very positive. Which means instead of thinking ki main kya nikalu, your approach becomes main kya rakhu apni life mein jo meri life ko purpose dega, or it will facilitate my life, or it will just make me happy. And trust me, if you do it in this way, you'll see your approach to decluttering will become very, very fascinating, positive, and you'll see that you're able to take a lot of decisions which perhaps you may not have been able to take it earlier. Okay. So I just want to quickly say here that please pay attention to this presentation that I'm doing, because towards the end, we will also have 5 quiz questions that will come up. So that, towards the end, those 5 questions will have correct answers coming from you, and we will win 5 prizes as well. So I would really recommend that all of you please pay attention to everything that I say today. Yeah. So going forward into the KonMari method, there are 2 unique aspects to the KonMari method. And the very first interesting method is that she says that we must declutter category wise. And the 5 categories are: first is clothes, second is books, third is papers, fourth is komono or miscellaneous items, and lastly, it's your sentimental items. Now, why she says this, that we must do this category wise, is that all our life, we all have been decluttering location wise, which means हम सोचते हैं कि आज हम ये अलमारी करेंगे, आज हम ये ड्रॉअर करेंगे, आज हम ये शेल्फ करेंगे. But what happens is that हम जब ये करते हैं, so a lot of times the same type of category is scattered around the house in various places. So I'm sure a lot of you would be having your clothes in not just in your room, but sometimes in the guest room, sometimes in the kids' ka loft, sometimes in the storeroom, right? So what happens is that once you do your decluttering category-wise, think like by taking clothes as the first category, if you tackle clothes in totality, then you will also know how much you own. So how many of us actually feel that हमारे पास कपड़े ही नहीं है? I think all of us feel like that, right? We all feel कि कपड़े ही नहीं है. But जब अलमारी खोलते हैं तो ऐसे गिरता है सामान, या फिर इतने कपड़े होते हैं that we are like कि but कपड़े तो है ही नहीं. And the husband or the children are like कि mama, what are you saying? Like इसके बाद भी कपड़े नहीं है. Right? So which is why it's important to feel that we should be decluttering category wise. So try and tackle one category at one time. So I like how Chetna has said that I don't feel that way. I'm so happy to know this, Chetna. Maybe towards the end, I'll ask you to speak more about it as well. Yeah. So it's interesting. So please note that it's important to know the 5 major categories. And Marie Kondo says it very interestingly. She says that you must start with clothes because it's the easiest category to start with. Whereas sentimental items, which is your cards, letters, or photo albums, which is difficult to tackle and difficult to do. So it's important to tackle that last. Now tell me something. Has it happened that when you decide कि इस weekend मैं decluttering करूंगी, and the minute you start and you open a drawer and अंदर से photo album निकलती है, and हम उस photo album को देखते हैं, देखते रहते हैं और याद करते रहते हैं चीजें उसके बारे में, and 2 घंटे निकल जाते हैं. Does it happen? And जब वो 2 घंटे निकल जाते हैं, then you're like अब छोड़ो यार, अब कौन करे, अब बाद में करेंगे. Yeah. So which is why it's important that Marie Kondo says that tackle the sentimental item last. That's why, because it's important to take and do the easier category first, which is clothes, and then going into books, papers, your kimono, which is miscellaneous items, and then lastly your sentimental items, right? And the other unique part of the KonMari method is this unique vertical stacking. Has anybody tried the KonMari method of folding, which I'll show you also in some time right now? But has anyone tried? Okay, nice, Ankita. I'm glad you have. Great. Okay, so it's a very interesting method of folding your clothes because it tells you and like it teaches you to fold your clothes that they look like this, which means that you're able to stack them up vertically and you're able to see everything at a glance and nothing gets disturbed. So now tell me, does it happen that you're in a rush and when our clothes are piled one on top of the other, we pull out that t-shirt from below, the pile falls, we push everything inside and we're like, chalo, chodo, baad mein karenge. And that baad usually comes very, very late. And there is so much clutter and so much chaos then in the closet that you're not able to, tackle it. And then you're like, acha, baad mein karte. So this is where the KonMari method comes very handy because you're able to see everything at a glance, as you can see in this picture. Like if you want to pick up the gray, garment, you can easily pick it up. Whereas if you want to put it back, then you fold it like this and then you put it back. So nothing else gets disturbed, which is the very interesting part of the KonMari method. Okay. So now going forward, I want to talk about Joy Factory's decluttering formula, which has actually been derived by the KonMari method itself. And it's a very, very, strategically placed formula, which will make your decluttering journey very easy. And it's called the C2S2 formula. And the 4 steps are collect, choose, scrap, store, which means that if you tackle clothes at one time, which means that you tackle the clothes by collecting all of these together, all the clothes of your house, of the member you're tackling with, you tackle that together. So you collect all the clothes together. Then comes the second step, which is choose, which means that you ask yourself by holding each item, each cloth in your hand and asking, does it spark joy? Then comes the aspect that what you decide to keep, you make a keep pile, and the items that don't spark joy, you keep like a donate pile, which means your scrap, things that you will give away. And last step is store, which is organizing or putting back the items that spark joy, but you put it back into the physical space that you are operating in, and everything has a home. So it's a very easy formula. It's called the C2S2 formula. And the 4 steps are collect, choose, scrap, store. Right? So now we will come to a very interesting concept, tidying versus cleaning. So firstly, let me ask you, how many of us think that tidying and cleaning is the same? Or is it same? Yes. How many of us say yes? Or how many of us say no? Okay, great. Gunjan says no. Ankita says no. Suruchi says no. Okay, and how many say yes? Anybody? I like everybody is very clear about it. Great that it's not. So excellent. Yeah. So actually it is interesting to know this, because when I first got to know about this while I was reading Marie Kondo's book, I thought of it always as tidying and cleaning being the same thing. And I'll tell you why, because synonymously, as growing up, all our mothers have told us, and these words have been used synonymously, because mothers said, kamre ki jaake safai karo. Now, when she meant that go clean your room or go safai karo, it meant that she's saying go tidy your room, which means put your room in order. She never meant that you go and start doing jhadu, pocha, dusting, etc. Right? But because growing up all our life, parents or mothers have been saying it, that go clean your room, actually they mean that go tidy your room. Yeah. So tidying actually deals with objects that have been placed in the room by us, right? Whereas cleaning is an act of removing the dust and dirt that comes from the universe, because it's the law of universe that dust and dirt will come. Does it make sense? Yeah. So in fact, Marie Kondo says it very interestingly. She says, tidying is the act of confronting yourself. And why so? Because you have put the objects in the wrong manner in the room. Whereas cleaning is the act of confronting nature, because you need to clean the dust and dirt that comes into the room, because it's the law of nature. Interesting. I was very fascinated when I, broke this concept in my head, because I really feel that a lot of times we get confused and we're not able to put it across in a proper manner. But by doing this, that the act of confronting yourself is tidying, whereas the act of confronting nature is cleaning, it really, really simplifies it, and you're able to understand what it actually means. Okay. So going further, I now want to show you the KonMari method of folding. So are we ready to do this? Yeah. I'll just quickly stop sharing and I'll show you. So I'll be starting with a t-shirt. And the idea is, so you take your t-shirt and lay it flat onto a surface in front of you. Okay. And the idea is that we will actually fold just the way we all have been folding traditionally. So there's nothing new that's happening. Yeah. So you take the t-shirt and keep it flat onto a surface in front of you. Take 1/3 of the t-shirt and fold it towards the center, just the way we all have been folding all our life. And take the arm and fold it back. Is this clear? Because we all have been doing it like that. Then take the other side and take it towards, again, the center of the garment, and take the arm and bring it back. Now this becomes like a rectangle. So the KonMari method is that if you can make your garment into a rectangle, you have aced 90% of the folding method. Okay. Then you take the lower half of the t-shirt and take it to the neck. So it becomes like this, which is nothing but the way the t-shirt comes after laundry and after ironing, isn't it? What we usually do is we put this t-shirt like this in the cupboard, right? But what the KonMari method is that when the t-shirt is like this, you can divide it further into 3 parts or 2 parts, depending on how long the t-shirt is, and make it stand upright. So in this case, I can make it into 2 parts. So I'll take the messy part of the t-shirt, which is the neck, and take it inside like this. And then the other side, I take it like that. And I give it a little tug, and the t-shirt stands on its own upright. Then what you can do is that you can take your drawer or your, like a basket, and put your clothes like this. And if you see, nothing else gets disturbed. Can you see? And if I have to pull out something also, I can just pull out like this and put it back like this. So does this make sense? Yeah. So of course, this method is a new way of learning the KonMari method. But it doesn't mean that it's a blanket rule and you need to fold all your clothes like this. This is just an enhanced version of your folding technique so that you can save a lot of space. And trust me, if you will start folding like this, you will be able to save a lot of space in your wardrobe. Because, putting your clothes like this in the drawer or in the, in a basket in your cupboard, you will be able to see that so many things get fit in a very small amount of space. Yeah. So of course, I would really recommend that you try it for yourself and see it. But if you're not able to do it, and if you feel that you want to go back to the traditional way of folding, it's absolutely fine. But let me tell you, once you will start folding like this, you will be able to see a lot of difference in how organized your space can feel and look. Yeah. So I will now quickly show you some before and afters and we can keep discussing as you see the pictures. If you would like to ask anything in between also, that's great. But the idea is that, we show you and I show you how the before and after feels after doing the decluttering and the KonMari method in your life. Now, if you see in this particular case, the almirah is not very messy. It's just that the client wanted all of these clothes to be folded and kept because it was making her feel very, very heavy on the eye. Does it happen that sometimes when you have too many things hanging, you start feeling that bas band kar do, nahi man kar raha kholne ka? It happens. So it's important, therefore, if you can learn a different way of folding so that you're able to put things inside in a very structured manner. So if you see here, all the clothes have been folded in the KonMari style, of course, with color coded, and that will also help you in your shopping. Does it happen that once you go for shopping and you buy something and you come back home and when you do your decluttering and you're like, oh, ye to tha mere paas, ye to bhool hi gayi. Or it'll come out from inside somewhere and you're like, oh, ye t-shirt to kahan chali gayi, I forgot. So this KonMari method therefore helps you in seeing your wardrobe in complete totality, because you're able to see the colors you own, the fabrics you own, and the kind of styles you own. So therefore your shopping for the next time becomes easier, and you also end up saving money. And that also enhances harmony with the husband. So husband is also happier. So it's important. Therefore, the KonMari method is not just for your own closet. It eventually leads to a lot of good factors for the home as well. Similarly, if you can see, all of these items have been organized in a very, very structured manner. Yeah. Now, similarly, this you can see, this was for an influencer we had worked for. And again, there's complete mess. But obviously, things were decluttered and organized and put properly. Now, let me, say one thing to you. I'm sure after this workshop, a lot of you will be very demotivated. Ki bas aaj mujhe karna hai. But to do that, please, it's important to know that you need to declutter first, which means you need to remove items, not take out everything, clean everything, and put back everything, because that will eventually lead to clutter only. So please, once you do take out, once you do that whole effort of taking out, and I'm sure Diwali is just 1 month away, where the effort will be taken that you take out everything. That's a great, great opportunity for you to start segregating what I love, what makes me happy, what I'm using, and take away the things that don't make you happy, and you can give away those items. Because what will happen is that you will be able to give it to those people that will make them happy. And I think Diwali is one such time where you can increase your joy by spreading joy. Yeah. And if an item you have not used in like 6 months or maybe a year, I think the time has come for you to say thank you to those items and then just let go. When you give your item with gratitude, you will feel that you'll feel less guilty about it. Yeah. How many of us have those gifts that people have given us? We feel कि उसको बुरा लगेगा इसलिए मैं नहीं निकाल सकती. A lot of us have those kind of gifts, right? Where we feel कि उन्होंने gift किया था and हम कैसे रख सकते हैं, हमें रखना पड़ेगा ना, हम कैसे निकाल सकते हैं? Yeah. But let me clarify one very interesting thing to you here, that the purpose of a gift is that you receive it with love. If you have received it with genuine love, then what you do with it, it doesn't make a difference. It's fine. So don't have that burden and guilt on yourself thinking that usko bura lagega, isliye main apne ghar mein wo cheez rakh rahi hu jo mujhe pasand nahi hai. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. Rather, when you have received that item with a lot of love and respect for that particular person, and if you have tried to use it, still it doesn't maybe suit your style or doesn't suit your aesthetics or whatever, you can easily say thank you to that item and further gift it or donate it and let it spark joy in someone else's life. And let me tell you, you will feel lighter, happier, and the feeling is unimaginable. Just try it for yourself to be able to see it. Huh? Then, of course, this is another room that we had done, and you can see that how things were disorganized. So let me also tell you that there are a lot of products that are available for organization now, on IKEA, Amazon, Home Center, because the industry is growing like anything. So don't ever feel that, how will my house ever look or become organized? It will, but the criteria for that is please declutter first. Don't start organizing. So today, after my workshop, don't go on to Amazon and start ordering products. Don't add before you delete. Because we all have a tendency कि पहले हम baskets order कर लेते हैं, बड़े सारे hangers order कर लेते हैं, सब कुछ कर लेते हैं, and then वो चीज collect होती रहती है, and you have not, dealt with the item that needs to be decluttered first. Yeah. Similarly, you can see that the use of baskets and the use of basically categorizing your items. So here, if you can see, these are all track pants, these are all t-shirts. So the more you categorize and keep things of the same category together, the easier it will be for you to look for those items. Yeah, so it really works very well like that. Here also you can see, of course, this cupboard is exploding like anything. But then, of course, with the use, let me be honest here, this client really got rid of a lot of stuff, as you can see, because she had held on to a lot of items that were not sparking joy. And that was also because, she had put on a lot of weight. So with that hope and in that anticipation, thinking that jab main patli hongi, to main wo kapde nikal lungi. That actually also adds to stress, because you look at that item thinking, jab main patli thi, to main kitni achhi lagti thi. So it's nothing but adding that stress to yourself. Having said that, if you like certain items which are really sparking joy for you, keep those items as motivation. You don't need to keep hundreds of those t-shirts thinking that when I lose weight, then I'll wear it. Just keep 5 or 3 items so that it motivates you to lose weight, but not makes you feel upset and burdened कि मैं इतनी पतली भी थी कि मेरे को ये 50 t-shirts आती थी. So it's important to live for the moment in the today, to be able to feel motivated to have a good tomorrow. That's very important, and which is why the KonMari philosophy has gained so much popularity, because it tells you to focus on having those items that make you happy today. If they don't make you happy tomorrow, or maybe because the person evolves, changes, then you can definitely relook at those items. Yeah. Similarly, again, if you can see, the bed box has been decluttered and put in the KonMari style by vertically standing up the t-shirts, the towels, the linen. And the more you will start using the KonMari style in the vertical sense, you'll see that you're able to see everything and you're able to save a lot of space, provided decluttering has happened. Let me put that again and again. Yeah. Manisha, I'll come back to this answer of how about Indian traditional storage as well. So this is a kitchen. If you can see, tell me how many of us would like cooking in such a kitchen? I don't think anyone. Firstly, there is no space only on the countertop to cook, right? So I think the first thing that Marie Kondo says about an organized kitchen is to have your countertop as clean and as tidy as possible, which means that try and keep all your items either in the shelves below or in the shelves above. And the three major categories in the kitchen are your cooking appliances, which means that items with which you do your cooking. The next is the items with which you eat, which means your cutlery and crockery. That's one category. And the last category is all your perishable and non-perishable items, which is your ration, which is the pantry area. So ideally, the kitchen should be divided into these three categories and not more. It can be more if you are like a baker, if you're a chocolatier. So if you have categories belonging to those, then you can segregate it further. But the idea should be for a kitchen that they should be divided into these three categories. And the aim of the kitchen should be that the countertops should be clean and tidy at all times, because that will motivate you to come and do cooking as well. Yeah. So this is one very interesting, I want to show you that saris can also be folded in the KonMari style. I'm sure a lot of you may have asked, must be thinking of such a question. So the KonMari style of folding depends on the fabric.